Adam was walking home when he noticed the sky was bright red at 11 p.m. It wasn't the usual orange glow of city lights or the faint shimmer of stars. This was different, a deep, unnatural crimson that made the streets feel like they were dipped in blood. He stopped staring up, his breath catching in his throat. For a moment, the world felt unreal, like he'd stepped into a dream or a warning. Adam wasn't the kind of guy who believed in signs. He was practical, grounded, the type who rolled his eyes at horoscopes and skipped the philosophy section in bookstores. But tonight, the sky felt like it was speaking to him. It reminded him of something he couldn't quite place, a story maybe, or a lesson he'd heard long ago. As he walked, his mind wandered to the job he'd just left. It wasn't a bad job, but it wasn't great either. He'd been there for 3 years, climbing the ladder slowly, steadily. But lately, he'd been feeling restless. He wanted more. More money, more recognition, more something. He couldn't put his finger on it, but the feeling gnawed at him, like an itch he couldn't scratch. Adam's restlessness wasn't new. In fact, it was as old as humanity itself. The ancient Greeks had a word for it: hubris. It was the kind of pride that made mortals reach for the divine, the same pride that led Icarus to fly too close to the sun. You know the story. Icarus, armed with wings made of feathers and wax, ignored his father's warning and soared higher and higher, chasing the warmth of the sun. But the wax melted, and he fell into the sea. The philosopher Aristotle called this the golden mean, the idea that virtue lies in balance, in avoiding extremes. Too little ambition and you stagnate. Too much, and you risk everything. Adam realized, standing under that red sky, that he'd been chasing his own version of the sun. A promotion, a bigger apartment, a fancier car. But what if, like Icarus, he was flying too close to something that could burn him? The red sky faded as Adam reached his apartment, but the lesson stayed with him. He thought about Icarus, about Aristotle, about the balance between ambition and contentment. He realized that chasing the unreachable wasn't just about the risk of failure. It was about losing sight of what you already had. Why do we chase things that might destroy us? Why do we ignore the warnings, the red skies, the melting wax? And more importantly, how do we find the balance between reaching for the stars and staying grounded? Next time you see a red sky or feel that restless itch to chase something bigger, remember Icarus, remember Aristotle, and ask yourself, are you flying toward the sun, or are you already exactly where you need to be? Subscribe for more stories about life, psychology, and the lessons we can learn from the past.